Can't you almost smell it? It's a quick and easy arroz con hot dog, Cuban-Jewish style, with all of the delicious flavors you'd get in a Cuban yellow rice and more. Sally, that girl, in the kitchen. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sally, that girl, in the kitchen. In today's episode, I'm going to teach you how to make a quick and easy arroz con hot dog, Cuban-Jewish style. Yes, a yellow rice, just the way we would make a delicious yellow rice for an arroz con pollo, but this is going to be arroz con hot dog. So why is it Cuban-Jewish? Of course, because I'm going to be using kosher all beef hot dogs as my salchicha. Many times you'll see this in Latin countries and they call it arroz con salchicha, which really is a hot dog. But this is not a pork-based hot dog. It's an all-beef hot dog, and it'll still give you that absolutely delicious flavor. And it's a whole lot quicker than a classic arroz con pollo would be because, of course, we are just going to cut up the hot dogs and there's no other chopping. I'm going to be using just pantry items to make this arroz con hot dog, which is why it's a quick and easy version rather than chopping everything up, which takes so much time to prep. So this is the type of meal that I would serve for my kids when they were younger, and I just needed something hearty, something filling, but something quick so that I could get them at the table after we've been done doing homework and had a very long day, after school activities, whatever it is. So it's a very nostalgic dish for both my children and for myself. And of course, it's absolutely delicious. So I am super excited to teach you how to make it. So let's not wait another second and let's get started. For today's recipe, you will need 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 1 teaspoon of chopped garlic. I'm going to be using the type that comes in a jar in olive oil, pre-chopped. 2.5 cups of water, 1.5 cups of beer, or if you're serving this to children or alcohol is a concern, you can replace the beer with chicken flavored broth or with water. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 2 teaspoons of dried minced onions, 1 chicken flavored stock cube, or if you don't have one, you can use 1.5 teaspoons of consomme chicken flavor soup and seasoning mix instead. 1.17 ounce packet of sazon, 2 teaspoons of amarillo yellow coloring, also known as bijol, annatto, or achiote, about 16 or so manzanilla Spanish olives stuffed with pimentos, plus a splash of their brine, 1 12-ounce pack of kosher hot dogs, 2 bay leaves, and 2 cups of long grain rice. You will also need a cutting board, a knife, a serving fork, some dry measuring cups, a wet measuring cup, some measuring spoons, and helpful but optional, a medium-sized bowl. You'll also need a medium-sized pot with a lid and something to stir with, such as a wooden spoon. So now that we have all of our ingredients and tools together, let's get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is grab your 100% kosher beef franks, and this is the hardest part of this recipe. All you're going to do is cut them into bite-sized pieces. Of course, keep in mind that if there will be small children eating this dish with you, then you may want to cut these even smaller. Just make sure the size is appropriate for those that will be eating. So now this step is optional. I like to put my hot dogs into a medium-sized bowl. It just helps. Yeah, I saw that one fly, maybe 2. I'll take care of those in a minute. It helps add this into the hot liquid without it splashing back at you. So now if you're using beer, you're going to want to open up the can or the bottle, and we're going to be adding the whole can. This right here is 12 ounces, which is 1.5 cups. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it into a wet measuring cup because I want that foam to settle. And then once it settles, I'm going to add water to it to get to 4 cups of liquid. So whether you're using beer, chicken flavored broth, or water, what you want to do is make sure you have 4 cups total of liquid. So now I'm going to grab a medium-sized pot, place it on my stove, and to it I'm adding 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil along with 1 teaspoon of pre-chopped garlic. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my stove to medium for starters. I'm just going to let this cook for about a minute or so. I just want it to start to become fragrant, for the garlic to let out its beautiful perfume and its flavor and infuse that olive oil. Just about a minute or so. Then once we've done that, we're going to bring over our 4 cups of liquid, and then we're going to gently pour that in. I just absolutely love the smell already. That sizzle, that smell, wow. So now, once your 4 cups of liquid are in, you're just going to start seasoning. We're going with half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of ground black pepper, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of paprika, a teaspoon of cumin, 2 teaspoons of minced onions. These are minced dried onions. Can you use fresh? Yes, but this is quick and easy after all. So we're going to add in our chicken flavored stock cube to also flavor this delicious liquid, and 1 packet of Sazon. I love this particular brand. This is not sponsored, but Sazon Accent is my favorite. And for that classic Cuban yellow coloring, you're going to add 2 teaspoons of amarillo yellow coloring, bijol, anato, achiote, whatever you know it as. And then just give that all a good stir. You're not going to believe just how fragrant this is already. It just smells so crazy good. So now that most of the yummy seasonings are in, we're just going to allow this to come back to a boil. And I'm using this burner because it gives me a better angle for you to see the inside of my pot. So I'm going to cover this and allow it to come back to a boil, but then I'm going to move it to a smaller burner in the back because I like to cook my rice delicately, and a smaller burner helps. So choose your smallest burner. And now I've uncovered the pot because we've come back to a boil. I'm adding about 16 manzanilla stuffed olives stuffed with pimentos along with some brine. So even if you skip the olives because you don't care for them, add a little bit of that brine. And then I'm adding my full packet of 12 ounces of my cut up hot dogs along with 2 bay leaves. And once again, I'm going to come in and give it all a little stir, but this is going to be the last time you see a spoon because when we're cooking rice, we must use a fork. This is what my grandmother and my mom taught me, so that's how I do it. So now I'm going to add in 2 cups of long grain rice, and then I'm going to stir it with a fork, gently stirring it to make sure that all of those seasonings, those spices, all those yummy flavors are mixed throughout. And then this is also going to be the last time we stir the rice because this is going to cook undisturbed. So now we have to give it another minute to come back to a boil because adding in those ingredients drop the temperature. So then as soon as it comes back to a boil, I'm going to move to the smaller burner. I'm going to cover this and cook it. So now it's back to a boil. I've moved it to my back burner because it is smaller. I want to do a delicate cooking, which means I'm going to lower this heat to low, and then I'm going to cover this pot and I'm going to allow it to cook covered and undisturbed. And since I'm using a small burner, I'm going to set a 25-minute timer. You might want to cut that down if you don't have a small burner because you don't want your rice to burn at the bottom. But with a small burner, 25 minutes is perfect. After 25 minutes, take it off the heat, let it sit covered and undisturbed again for 5 full minutes. And after 5 minutes, you're going to come in, uncover it, and take in the incredible scent. The aroma is divine. The beer, the spices, the hot dogs, so crazy good. You could serve it right out of the pot onto everyone's plate, or of course you can plate it, and of course you're only going to fluff it using a fork, never a spoon. You can use a spoon to serve it. But what you want to do is you want to fluff up your beautiful and delicious, quick and easy arroz con hot dog, this Cuban-Jewish style arroz con hot dog. You want to fluff it up with a fork, and then you are ready to go. I'm going to taste that little bit that, conveniently got stuck on the fork. I can tell already just from that tiny little sample and from the incredible aroma that this is absolutely divine. I say I used to make this for the kids as a quick and easy meal, which is true, but I also made it for myself because it's so tasty. It really is very reminiscent of the rice you would get with a delicious arroz con pollo, but with hot dogs, and there's really just nothing to it. Everything is from my pantry. And of course, make sure you don't serve those bay leaves to the kids if they're eating this, because they don't know maybe that is not fully edible and digestible when it's in its full form. So make sure to remove those before serving that to children or to anyone who may not know. So anyway, enough with the admiring. Now it's time to take a real bite with that delicious rice and that yummy kosher hot dog. Wow. Exactly as I remember it. So delicious. The rice is fluffy, just absolutely yummy. It's starchy because we didn't wash the rice because we want it to be a little bit sticky. It's just absolutely perfect. And of course, I love the pimento stuffed olives. It gives it an extra little tang, just so, so tasty. Oh yeah, absolutely divine. A quick and easy dish that anyone and everyone is going to love, even the finickiest of eaters, because really, I mean, you can't go wrong. A delicious yellow rice, with hot dogs. Que rico. So how absolutely delicious does this quick and easy arroz con hot dog Cuban-Jewish style look? Yes, it's absolutely divine with all the flavors you'd find in a Cuban yellow rice, the kind of rice that you'd find in a delicious arroz con pollo, but this is quick and easy, hardly any chopping involved outside of those hot dogs, and it's still absolutely flavorful. We've added all those yummy spices that really give it a ton of flavor. And of course, that beer gives it that incredible flavor. But of course, you can use a non-alcoholic beer, or you can replace the beer for a chicken flavored broth, whatever you prefer. Even water will still be absolutely delicious because we add all those yummy seasonings, and it gives this dish a delicious flavor. And of course, the hot dogs themselves, they let out this just absolutely yummy flavor. You can't go wrong. Trust me. No, better yet, don't trust me. You're going to have to try this recipe yourself. And of course, if you enjoyed today's recipe, don't forget to like it, to write me a sweet comment, to share the recipe video with your friends, and even better, share my channel with your friends. It really, really helps me grow when you share my channel link with people who may not know about me. So thank you so much for doing that. And of course, if you're already following me, you will know that I have hundreds of recipe videos already out. But if you're not following me, then you may not know. So go over, explore, go under that playlist tab, and I break everything down by categories. You're going to find main dishes, side dishes, desserts, appetizers, pretty much anything you can think of, soups, whatever you can think of, it's probably already in there. And of course, if you're not already following me on social media, please be sure to follow Sally That Girl in the Kitchen on Facebook, Instagram, and on Pinterest. And you can find me as Sally That Girl FL on X, Snapchat, and on TikTok. And don't forget, I also have an Amazon shop. So if you see anything that I use in the videos that you might be interested in, you could probably find it in my Amazon shop. And you can find all of that information either at the top of my YouTube channel on the banner, or you can go over to Sally That Girl in the Kitchen on Facebook or Instagram. I have a link tree at the top of the pages where it will take you to all my different shops and every place that you could pretty much find me across the internet. So make sure to check that all out. And once again, I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for your support over the past more than 4 years at this point. I really appreciate that you're here, and I thank you so, so much for watching. and I'll see you next time. Sally, that girl in the kitchen.